So we actually have a set of these sort of vision for liberation, a set of just different things that we say as part of our community or that we share with others. But one of the things that I always think about is this idea of being limitless. So really thinking about how can you be limitless in your understanding? How can you be limitless in your learning? How can you be limitless also in your ability to hold space for other people in their journey of learning as well, right? Because social justice is not something that you just get it right and you always get it right. We are all products of mistakes and learning and differences and all of these things. So how can we come with the mentality of you may not know what you don't know, but once you learn, use that to make change, right? Or use that to be better informed. So being limitless is definitely one of our big things here.
Welcome to Community Spotlight, brought to you by Bro Code TV Productions and hosted by the Bros. Join us on this dynamic journey as we shine the spotlight on local agents who are making a profound difference in their communities. These remarkable individuals bring creativity, wellness, and purpose to the forefront as they tackle challenges, nurture their families, and celebrate successes. In each episode, we explore their unique stories and initiatives, offering an inspiring glimpse into the world of community transformation. Get ready to be inspired by those who are leaving an undeniable mark on their neighborhoods.
What's up, good people? It's your boy, Bro Troy, back for another episode of the Bro Code Show Community Spotlight. Tonight, we're thrilled to spotlight Pranoo Kumar, founder of Rohi's Readery, an educator, advocate, and change maker who's shaking up early childhood literacy with social justice at its core. She's redefining story time as a powerful tool for community empowerment. Welcome to the show, Pranoo Kumar. What's happening, Pranoo?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm feeling
Feeling
good.
pretty good?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that t-shirt.
Thank you.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But for our listeners, really quickly, talk to us about where we're sitting at, where it's at, the address, the location. Talk to us more about that.
Yes, so we are located in the heart of the Northwest District in downtown West Palm Beach, Florida. The address is 630 7th Street, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33401. And we are currently in one of the two buildings that we now own. We are in the retail space of Rohi's Readery.
I love it. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the name, where it came from, dig deeper into the family roots. Talk about that word ancestry. I know it means a lot to you. Literacy, social justice, as well as talk about motherhood. So let's get in this car and have some fun. So I'm curious, what does motherhood look like and feel like as a social justice superwoman?
Oh my goodness. As someone who is a mother of two incredible little revolutionaries, for me, it is just having this opportunity to provide windows and mirrors of learning for them, but also show them this whole opportunity of learning and unlearning as an adult as well. There's so much that I was not exposed to growing up in terms of different marginalized communities and even within my own community. And so as a mother, as a caregiver, my goal is to facilitate experiences where we can cultivate conscious citizens of our littlest ones. And I really think about that with my two littles and how they can take what they learn here and around them and share it with the world.
Awesome. I certainly appreciate you sharing. When we talk about children book characters, which one would reflect you most? Which children book character would you be and why?
Oh my goodness. So I would have to say the little girl in the book Bindu's Bindis, and I actually have the image on our mural up here, and it reminds me so much of my own relationship with my grandmother, whom the bookstore is named after, but also this book is actually the first book that I'd ever seen that showed the word nani, And that is what my children call my mom. And so to have a book that is representative not only of my own experience with my grandmother, but then to see the language connected for future generations, that was just such a powerful experience for me.
I love it. I certainly appreciate you sharing family traditions, man. It's a big deal. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. I want to talk about what's on the wall and also what's on your shirt. You know, as I walked into the space, never been here before a day in my life, always big on energy and taking and consuming that, right? Yeah. Right? Because I want to be able to leave things better than how I found them, right? So taking on the space and its initial space and its authenticity is so important. And it spoke to me, it says revolutionary readers.
Yes.
Talk to me about and define what that means to you.
Yes. So we have a song to help our friends, whether you are a child or you're an adult connecting with your inner child. And it's 3 simple things when we think about revolutionary readers. So we say, we read something, we learn something, we share it with the world. We read something, we learn something, we share it with the world. And it's just this very set idea that you have the opportunity to make impact in the world. You have an opportunity to take what you've learned from a book, from a conversation, from just the visuals around you to just create opportunities for understanding, empathy, and connection.
I love it.
Yeah.
Revolutionary reader. Let's flow into origins and family. You touched on it earlier, and when I came into the space, I couldn't help but to see a few pictures on the wall. But let's talk about this word ancestry.
Yes.
You know, and before we do that, I want to bring this segment in by a quote that I saw on your website, and it says, "We are built by what the ancestors and descendants had to do to survive, to thrive." Tell us a little bit more about your own family's journey and how that shaped you.
Yes. Well, that quote right there, I first have to give a shout out to one of my dear friends and family, Lyric Flood, who is based in Houston and doing really incredible work around liberatory learning as well, and shared that with me many years ago. And it really just resonated with me, and especially within the confines of the Readery. When you look at these pictures all around, what you'll see in the very main area is my grandmother, my grandmother's brother, my grandmother's siblings, and her mother. So just this idea of really honoring those who've come before us, and honoring the work that they've done, and honoring the joy that they've instilled that carries within our bones, within our flesh, every single day. And for me, thinking about the things that people who are either from my family line or the descendants, the work that they have done with much severe consequences. And so the opportunity for me to speak unapologetic truth is due to the fact that the ancestors fought so hard, and people really made a conscious decision to fight for humanity. So I try to have that somewhere around all of the walls. You can even see up at the top of this shelf, there's a picture of an elder woman, and that actually was a photograph that was done by one of our high school interns, and they gifted that to the Readery. And what I loved about that was that they saw power in that photo in the way that I did, and that I hope that little ones as well, to honor the elders and those who've come before us.
Discover the pinnacle of visual storytelling experiences with BroCo TV Productions. From the artistry of photography to the magic of videography, the world of podcast production, exclusive red carpet services, captivating MC services, inspiring speaking engagements, expert panel discussion curation, and breathtaking drone services. The Bros have you covered. Elevate your events and storytelling with us. Contact BroCo TV Productions now at 919-714-9905 and be a part of our incredible journey at www.brocodetvproductions.com. We're here to make any room better.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. I want to dig into passions and purpose. You know, I've once heard that our purpose can be found through pain. If something rubs us the wrong way enough, we start to become confident and audacious in a space to want to do something about it. And then the energy and effort begins to galvanize and people begin to hear and feel it. And now it becomes a movement. I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about how literacy and early childhood education became both a purpose and a passion for you.
So I will always say that teaching saved my life. I was born in another country. I was born in India. We moved to the Deep South, specifically Texas. And my family and I experienced racism, discrimination. I viewed it from my parents in their professional spaces. And for me, I didn't really understand or realize the microaggressions that were occurring until I was older, but also seeing as I was older that it was truly an erosion of my soul and my self-worth. And so when I decided to start teaching, it was through a career-changing fellowship. I wanted to work with children in some capacity and began teaching in Harlem in the South Bronx. And through that lens, realized more and more the impact of identity-driven learning. What does it look like for a child to see themselves in content, to stay engaged as a reader? In educational spaces, we know they were not traditionally created for people of color, from marginalized communities, people of the global majority. So why would we expect curriculum and content and books in the classroom to reflect our communities? And so researching and learning more about it made me see that there was a statistic that said, if you are exposed to literacy that is reflective of you or engaging, then you are 500% more likely to stay engaged as a reader. So oftentimes school spaces will blame the children, but I say no, it's the adult. What are we doing or not doing to cultivate spaces of self-empowerment and self-identity? So that's really what all kind of started it all. And now it's just something I'm incredibly passionate about, because social emotional learning cannot go anywhere unless we provide tools for our children to see themselves, and that's through their everyday experiences that happen to be at school.
Yeah, I thank you for sharing that. I too share a passion for the babies and mentorship and really just leaving things better than how I found them. I believe presence speaks volume. I believe that they'll be what they see and they hear and what's supported in them. And I believe in sparks.
Yes.
You know, so I kind of look at myself as Johnny Appleseed. You know, I may not be the one that waters it, but it's my job to plant the seed. It's my job to show reflection of, in hopes that they'll grasp onto that and then take ownership of it, take agency of it, and create their dope, whatever their dope is. So, so thank you for what you do. Thank you for that. We need more educators. We need more advocates in that space. Thank you. I certainly appreciate that. Talk to us about the name. Names matter.
Yes.
Right? So we can name things anything that we want, but you put a name on this that is reflective of your mission, of your family oriented. Talk to me a little bit more about the name of your organization, even the connection with Liberation Station. Like, connect the dots for me.
Yes. So Rohi's Readery, the Rohi stands for Rohini, and Rohini is my grandmother. She passed, but I feel her presence all around always. But she was an education activist. She fought for children's rights. She fought for the emancipation of women's rights during colonized rule in India. And she was someone who truly believed that every child should feel seen, valued, loved, a sense of empowerment. and an opportunity to a quality educational experience. The Readery piece, I always give a shout out. That's my partner, Paul. He came up with Readery and it kind of all clicked together. But my older daughter is also named Rohini. So it's just kind of carrying that piece. And my grandmother was someone I was very close with and was someone who was able to hold space for multiple things. So to be really intentional, deliberate, and hold me to, not standards, but ensuring that I was being my best self because she believed in me, while also having this very nurturing, soft side to her. So it was just a beautiful thing to also experience the duality of it all. And then the Liberation Station came about because we wanted to start a nonprofit and we wanted something to connect with this idea of liberation, because that's the word that we're always using. Do you feel liberated? Do you feel seen? Do you feel valued? Do you get to be unapologetically and authentically you? And so we thought of it as liberation, but then we use the word station because it's somewhere that it reminds me of New York or different places where you can just sort of stop. You can hop off, you can come hang out, you can do, you can be, you can buy, you can rent, whatever it is, but then you can kind of go back on your own way. But you get to create that station experience too. And it's a space that feels, when I think of the word station, it's sort of a gathering place too, for connection, for movement, for community. And so that's sort of where liberation and then station came into play.
Discover the pinnacle of visual storytelling experiences with BroCo TV Productions. From the artistry of photography to the magic of videography, the world of podcast production, exclusive red carpet services, captivating MC services, inspiring speaking engagements, expert panel discussion curation, and breathtaking drone services. The Bros have you covered. Elevate your events and storytelling with us. Contact BroCo TV Productions now at 919-714-9905 and be a part of our incredible journey at www.brocotvproductions.com. We're here to make any room better.
I love that. Community is a big deal. And finding your community, finding your tribe, I believe is the difference maker, and you having the true ability to be your authentic self and give the world everything that you have, right?
Yes.
Because we don't know it all, and having individuals that you can bounce things off is truly important. With that being said, that's a great segue into our next conversation about mentorship. I believe mentors matter. I truly believe that you're a culmination of the individuals that you hang out with the most. The individuals that pour into you the most will combine your cup of tea or your cup of coffee or whatever that is, right? So those are the ingredients to your gumbo of who you are, right? So with that being said, I'm curious, in your journey, what has been some of the greatest mentors or individuals that have made an impact in your life to help you get to where you're at?
I feel like there are so many people who have really poured into me, which is why I feel such gratitude to be able to pour into this work. My mom is someone who has always been so proud of her identity, so proud to be Indian, so proud to be unapologetically her. You know, she moved from India, she had the long, long hair. She moved to the US. She, since the 80s, has had a buzz cut, red hair, long nails, bright outfits that match her personality, but has always been someone who is just confident in their culture and purpose. And that is something that I now see as an adult, and especially being a mother, just the courage and the power that took, especially when you're experiencing all forms of discrimination and stereotypes being thrown your way. And then I think about my dad. You know, my parents, even though we experienced the immigrant, there's been a lot of learning and unlearning around the immigrant experience with my parents. But my dad has always been someone who has just been open to learning and understanding and seeing me for me, while also seeing a sense of empowerment in me when I didn't feel that myself. And so that's been really transformative in my life, even when I didn't know it in the moment. And then I would say another person is Danique Day Loving. And she was my school leader in Harlem. But even when I taught in the South Bronx, and I still consider her like a second mom. I still text her, call her, all the things. But she is someone that I deeply admire, even, to this day, because I see how she leads with the lens of first seeing community, listening to community, and building with community. And she's just someone who has taught me how to be a better person personally and professionally. There's so many others. There's some young ones too that have been amazing mentors. But I would say those are three that really stand out to me.
Discover the pinnacle of visual storytelling experiences with BroCo TV Productions. From the artistry of photography to the magic of videography, the world of podcast production, exclusive red carpet services, captivating MC services, inspiring speaking engagements, expert panel discussion curation, and breathtaking drone services. The Bros have you covered. Elevate your events and storytelling with us. Contact BroCo TV Productions now at 919-714-9905 and be a part of our incredible journey at www.brocotvproductions.com. We're here to make any room better.
Pranoo, talk to me more, and let's dive a little bit more into this thing called mental wellness, mental health. I have talked with therapists of my own, as well as friends, as well as homies, and oftentimes we have this debate about this thing called balance. That looks different to everyone. However, in my opinion, I have thrown that word out. I don't believe in balance. I don't. I believe that with balance, there has to be sacrifice, meaning that I look at it as a scale. And on a scale, if there's balance, that means there's stillness, which means that I can't go to the left and I can't go to the right. I have to stay right here in a sense of stillness for there to be balance on the scale. What I believe in is harmony. Harmony takes shape, like water, of its environment, of where it goes, where it shares its energies. So I try to, as much as possible, seek harmony in the spaces that I'm in while being present, which allows me to be my authentic self in every space that I go into. Does it always work that way? No, but that's the direction that I'm seeking. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on wellness? What are your thoughts on balance? How do you find it? And describe to me what that looks like.
Yes. So I resonate so much with everything that you're saying, that idea of, when people ask you, how do you balance it all? And I think in myself, you have no idea all the things that are happening. It feels like I'm literally juggling all around. It's interesting because I grew up in a culture where mental health was not talked about and was not valued, I would say, in the sense of it was only if something bad was happening, even then, or it was a reactionary experience instead of something that was proactive and something that was also a part of your self-care routine, right? And so it wasn't until I was older, and just trigger sort of warning, or just sharing, I have gone through pretty intense depression and suicidal ideation, not only in my early 20s, but also during my pregnancies too. So it's something that has not been, sort of solved right away. It's something I'm constantly working on. It's a muscle I'm actively working on. But when I think of mental health, I think of the journey that I've been on in being able to share these experiences now with my family, and to be able to actively have a therapist and talk about these things, to be able to engage with my family on the idea of going to a therapist, on the idea of taking care of myself and my brain health, especially being able to use literacy, right? There's these beautiful books all around us that have an opportunity to help talk about these things around mental health and how our brains work and how we feel. And so it's just such an interesting experience, because not only have I gone from not ever talking about it to now always talking about it, but then getting to use the thing that I love the most to talk about it. And that's also given me an opportunity to really reflect on when people say, well, what are you doing to take care of yourself? And for me, it has been, oh, well, in the morning, I always have an iced chai latte. And that right there is my stillness for me, right? It's the little moments where I give myself permission, or I'm driving my kids to school and we're listening to music, but then on the way back, I listen to my favorite podcast every single day, from the drive to their school to my house. To my house. The bookstore is basically like my other house, second home. But it's a matter of finding pockets. It's when I pick up my children from school and I go home and I say, no tech. And if my daughter asks me, will you do a puzzle with me? I'm gonna sit and be fully present in that opportunity. So that's sort of where it comes into play for me, is how do I sort of just navigate the day-to-day with finding pockets of that harmony, that stillness, and that presence. But how am I also leveraging the tools that I've learned through the people around me, my research, my readings, my affirmations, my therapist to help me experience that too.
Discover the pinnacle of visual storytelling experiences with BroCo TV Productions. From the artistry of photography to the magic of videography, the world of podcast production, exclusive red carpet services, captivating MC services, inspiring speaking engagements, expert panel discussion curation, and breathtaking drone services. The Bros have you covered. Elevate your events and storytelling with us. Contact BroCo TV Productions now at 919-714-9905 and be a part of our incredible journey at www.brocotvproductions.com. We're here to make any room better.
I appreciate you sharing that. The transparency and the vulnerability. Depression is real. Mental health is real. Mm-hmm. Your feelings are real, right? Mm-hmm. And being able to be present and authentic in that space, to allow yourself, I love that word, to feel how you feel in that moment, but seek a space of betterness. Yes. Whatever that looks like for you. Is really important. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no,
let's talk about challenges. Life is full of them. And as I use this word for the work that I do, as I'm a community engineer. Engineer is someone that solves problems. They see things from a different perspective, and then they find ways to make it better. Remember, we talked earlier that oftentimes purpose is birthed through pain. If it rubs me wrong enough, I start to become confident or have the audacity to start to do something about it. Mm-hmm. Well, with that being said, in the work that you do as a literacy advocate, as a world changer, as a inclusion advocate, as someone that wants to ensure that the spaces, regardless of where that's at, right? This being the third location, and bigger and better things to come, that whatever space you're in, that you want people to feel a certain way, better about themselves, good about themselves, to be heard. With that comes challenges. With that can come barriers, speed bumps, where you have to check yourself, right? I call it a checkup from the neck up.
I love that.
Share with myself and the listeners some of the challenge of this advocacy work that you're doing, and then also share some of the joys.
Yes. So the challenges have definitely been there, especially being in Florida with a lot of the legislation that has occurred, but also just the nature of the work that we do and the fact that we specifically and solely have literacy and work that is reflective of historically marginalized communities. We have received death threats. We have received in-person threats. We have received unkind emails, all types of things. So there's definitely that piece, but what I say is the opposite with the joy factor is the fact that we have a really beautiful, loving, strong community of people who deeply care about each other. And I think that there is always the thing that I hold on to when we're experiencing those things. I think some of the other challenges have been more around, just going from being an educator, and if you're in the classroom or have been, that life is, you get to school at 6 a.m., you leave the school building sometimes at 9 p.m., you're grading papers on the weekends, you're going to your students' birthday parties, you're doing all this, it's your life, and educators do that because we love what we do, and we also love the experience of getting to be in community with our littlest and older learners. I think that whole experience for me, and going from that to then being a mother and a business owner, and then being pregnant when I first opened the bookstore again, that was definitely a lot of learning and unlearning for me as an entrepreneur, just moving into a space of entrepreneurship, but then also understanding, Pranoo, there are going to be seasons in your life. You have experienced a very long time where you have the same routine, it's all about you do the work, you learn, you go back home, you do it all over again. Things can change at any given moment. Things can literally change with one of my little ones getting sick, and then it throws the day off, right? Because then how do I get to the bookstore? What do I do? All these things. Or prior to having a family, come home, grade papers, do work. I don't do that when I'm at home anymore. Now, has it been difficult? Yes, but my kids are also the greatest mirrors because they will slam that computer and say, no work, no phone. And that right there is the greatest learning and gift I could have. I think the other challenge is that we are here to support people in their space of learning and unlearning. But what we also don't want is for people to exploit our communities, to see the work as a trend, because there's some recent research around the fact that in 2020 DEI was huge. Everyone was putting it out there, statements, this, brands, all of it. And now it's about 40% lower in terms of investment in DEI. I would say even more. We're not a trend. This is the work, this is people's lives. And so having to have those conversations with people sometimes around, if you're wanting to do the work, if you want to learn, do it because it means something greater to you than a social media performative piece. So that's been another interesting experience, just the conversations. But on the other end, the joy that comes from people who will walk into this space and they'll read a book, or they'll say, I want to learn more about this, or I've been using this term and I had no idea. We did something recently on Indigenous peoples, and someone didn't know the origins of the words of powwow even. And so it was an opportunity to bring a children's book. And it's always like such a great starting point for no matter what age you are. So that's been some of the joy and just community all around. I'm so grateful for community and the fact that I have now found people who've become family for me.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing. We've talked about a lot. I want to have some fun though. And you mentioned social media. I did a little research on social media.
Yes.
And I got a chance to learn a little bit more about you through your Instagram. So this is our picture segment. So I'm going to text you a picture that I found on social media. And what I want you to do is once you get the text, share with myself and our audience what that picture meant to you, why you shared it, and what you were doing in that moment.
Discover the pinnacle of visual storytelling experiences with BroCode TV Productions. From the artistry of photography to the magic of videography, the world of podcast production, exclusive red carpet services, captivating MC services, inspiring speaking engagements, expert panel discussion curation, and breathtaking drone services. The Bros have you covered. Elevate your events and storytelling with us. Contact BroCode TV Productions now at 919-714-9905 and be a part of our incredible journey at www.brocodetvproductions.com. We're here to make any room better.
Oh my goodness, it's my babies. These are my babies from Harlem, and this picture is actually all of my pre-K babies. That time, it was the first year that the school that I was working at ever did a pre-K program, and I got to write the curriculum for it and found the program. And this right here, I still keep in touch with these babies to this day, and I believe they're now in like 9th or 10th grade. But this is just, these faces are my heart. This is everything. Like even just their aprons. And I actually moved up with them from pre-K to kindergarten too. And I'm just thinking how, like the little things where I had to try and get the aprons on them and get ready for the day. Oh, these are my babies. I love them. This just makes me so happy. But it also just reminds me of the gift of being an educator. Oh, I love this. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to text you this second one. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, give me a second. Boom. All right, you should have it now.
Okay. My family. So this right here is my husband, whom has been my best friend since 2008. Oh, gosh. And I see my mom in the background too. I love that. And this is so wild. This picture is of my babies and my husband and I. My dad and mom are actually in the background. This was the first time after having Ramani that I had ever taken off more than a day since opening the Readery. And we actually planned a week where we went to Orlando and we went to Sesame Place, and then we just stayed at the hotel. We went swimming, we did all of these fun things. But what I love about this is that I remember I found out how to put an auto message on your phone to have it so that anyone who texts you, they'll just get an automated message, kind of like your emails. And I had it and it said, "Dear loving community, I am currently completely disconnecting from phone and computer. If you'd like to contact me, please reach out again after this time because I won't be reading the text messages either or the emails." And I just remember so many of my friends, when I went to look back, said, that was amazing. And then I taught them how to do it too. But it just reminds me of this time where I just felt so free, and I was not working in the least bit. It was just family time. And this was also the weekend where my little one learned how to walk, and she walked to her older sister with my mom and dad there and Paul. So yeah, I love this picture so much.
Memorable.
Good one.
Memorable.
So good.
Yeah, last one. I texted to you.
Okay.
Talk to me about that last one. You should have it now.
Okay. Oh my gosh. This is joy. This is like joy, love, all the things. This was actually, we partnered with some amazing organizations, and we decided to celebrate the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And this picture was actually with one of the DJs that was local. We had all local organizations, and they did all these different dance moves from different time periods connected to hip hop. And we had a dance competition. And after, on the hour, we had a different dance competition. And this family, this little one won, and her whole family was just cheering her on. It was like the best experience. And you just see the joy right there. And not only is it just her, but what I love is that it's what we're all about, and that's the multi-generational experience. So not only is she going to remember, hopefully, the idea of the culture and the history of hip hop and the intersectionality of different cultures around hip hop, but now she'll also be able to remember, hopefully, the story time that came with it. She'll be able to remember the moment where she was jumping up and down with her family that supported her. And she'll also be able to see herself and reflect on this photo as like a true image of joy and celebration of self. So I love seeing pictures like this. And it gave me an opportunity for once to try to be an MC for at least 5 minutes that day. So, but yeah, this was one of the most beautiful celebrations in the multi-generational experience.
Discover the pinnacle of visual storytelling experiences with BroCo TV Productions. From the artistry of photography to the magic of videography, the world of podcast production, exclusive red carpet services, captivating MC services, inspiring speaking engagements, expert panel discussion curation, and breathtaking drone services. The Bros have you covered. Elevate your events and storytelling with us. Contact BroCo TV Productions now at 919-714-9905 and be a part of our incredible journey at www.brocotvproductions.com. We're here to make any room better.
Pranoo, let's talk about this next segment we get into. Is called Beyond the Books, and really want to use this as a way to advocate for the work itself. So please share with me and our listeners, why is early childhood education so critical in shaping the future of change makers for the babies?
Yes. Well, early childhood education and just experiences around visuals, language, vocabulary, things that connect to gross motor skills, fine motor skills, all of those things are so integral into the development of a child. So there is a flow chart, and it says, children are never too young to talk about race. And it talks about how at these different stages in the early childhood development up until about 6 years old, how by 30 months old, by 4 years old, by 6 years old, there are all these different pieces that connect back to children and their biases that are created based on who they see, what they see as familiar to them, and then they also begin to associate different behaviors. So it's really important that we are leveraging diverse and inclusive, beautiful books around the early childhood age frame, because our children, starting at newborn, are already reading. When people come in and they say, oh, my child is just 3 months old, they don't know how to read, I think they actually do, because they're looking at the pictures, they're observing the book, they're holding the book, they're flipping through the pages. These are all habits of great readers, right? But even more importantly, they're understanding and intaking all of this information just by one image or just by the environment around them. And so if we can provide opportunities early on so that children have a better understanding of the world around them, it is going to, one, allow us to advocate for each other that much more, but it's also going to provide opportunities for children to stay engaged in the love of literacy, in the love of learning, and then also just stay engaged in wanting to do more for your community as well.
I love it. I love it. Let's talk a little bit more about this thing called our voice.
Yes.
I have a 15-year-old daughter, and one of the things that I always impress upon her is to not allow anyone to diminish her voice.
Yes.
To advocate for herself, right? To speak up respectfully, but earnestly.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Without angst and with pure confidence. And one of the ways that that I help teach her to do that is through these mediums, right? Through media and sharing her voice and being able to capture her thoughts and then be able to re-see that and then capture it again. But I'm curious for you, what does that look like? Why is it important, or is it important to you to continue to use your voice, find your voice, and be the voice for the community and those that need it most?
Well, I feel very, very grateful for the opportunity to connect and be in community with people where we can bring our voices together. My goal is to always provide opportunities and space for someone else to speak for themselves, because there are already such powerful voices in our community. The difference is that there are systems that have been intentionally created to keep certain voices out of rooms. So what do? We build our own rooms, and we ensure that our voices are amplified because they are already powerful. I think one of the most beautiful learning experiences for me in this process is how your voice can show up in many ways. Because the idea of when you say use your voice, oftentimes people think is, through the sound and through you using your mouth and your words through oral storytelling or oral speaking, right? But there are so many ways in which you can use the voice, the words, the thoughts that are within. And so that right there for me has been a beautiful experience to think about creatively when an adult or a child does not have what society deems as using your voice a different way. So whether it is through movement, music, gardening, cooking, dance, whether it is through using a keyboard, right? So we have nonverbal children who come in, children who are on the spectrum, who are part of the neurodivergent community. And so how are we also leveraging inclusive language to say, I want you to, my hope is that you're able to communicate in the way that you need to advocate for yourself. And so that has been something that's really important to me, because I think sometimes when we say use your words, it automatically means know what to say, but it can show up in so many ways that we advocate through art, you name it, right? Through the presence of even just sitting and breathing and being and taking a moment to say, you know what, I'm gonna gather my thoughts. I'm gonna gather all the things that, I want to share, and then I'm going to expand upon it in whatever way possible. But I do believe in the power of advocating and speaking for yourself. And we just did something around that even this weekend around, body autonomy and consent. And for kids to be able to say, If you don't want to be hugged, that's okay. You know, there's a book that's called Don't Hug Doug. He just doesn't like it. You know, or thinking about the different ways we can say, if you want X, Y, and Z and you don't know how to communicate it, if you want to write it down, or if you want to draw a picture and show someone to advocate for yourself, there's so many ways that we can engage with our youngest, especially on that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
As we land this plane, it's important, especially in the work of nonprofit work, that we galvanize support in many ways. So I want to give you this opportunity to share with the listeners, one, what's next for the Readery, and how can people support the mission? Website, social media, give it to them.
So ways where you can support. So we're always fundraising to ensure our programming is free and accessible to the community. So our free educational programming, but also we just received a donation of a small bus. So we're turning that into a hybrid bookmobile transportation so we can bring the learning anywhere in the community and make it experiential as much as possible. So you can follow us on Instagram at Rohi's Readery. You can go onto our website. You can come visit us in the location. You can donate your time, your services, money, whatever feels best for you. You can come and just sit and be here. And we're also connected with bookshop.org. And so if you choose to want to support us online, just go to bookshop.org, choose us as your bookstore to support, and then we get a portion of the proceeds that go back into making sure that our Readery stays around.
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing your energy, your awesomeness, the work that you do for the community, the love that you have for your family in an authentic, transparent way.
Thank you so much.
That's the Bro Code Show experience. So thank you, Pranoo, for sharing your inspiring journey and mission with us here on the Bro Code Show. Rohi's Readery is truly changing lives by turning books into tools of justice and empowerment. For anyone wanting to learn more, follow Rohi's Readery online and on all social media platforms to support this transformative work. It's your boy, Bro Troy, with another Bro Code Show experience. Till the next time, peace.
Discover the pinnacle of visual storytelling experiences with Bro Code TV Productions. From the artistry of photography to the magic of videography, the world of podcast production, exclusive red carpet services, captivating MC services, inspiring speaking engagements, expert panel discussion curation, and breathtaking drone services. The Bros have you covered. Elevate your events and storytelling with us. Contact Bro Code TV Productions now at 919-714-9905 and be a part of our incredible journey at www.brocodetvproductions.com. We're here to make any room better.
Pranoo, we believe here on the Bro Code Show that words matter. Before the show, I mentioned to you that I'm grandma's baby, and one of the things that she would always do for me is give me what I call then weird pieces of money. So whether it was the Susan B. Anthony $50 or the $quarter, whatever the case may be, all I wanted was some Boston baked beans and some bazooka bubblegum. I could care less about it being a authentic piece or strange money. But she also had $2 bills, and I remember I did spend some of those because I did want that candy, but we now use that on our show and on our platform as a way to speak to our guests. One, the $2 bill is rare and it's unique, and we believe that our guests are just that, both rare and unique. So we use it as a symbol to say, hey, this is our token of appreciation for joining our platform. We want to leave this as a gift to say, hey, this was a gift to remember the Bro Code Show experience. So before the show, we asked you a word that you would use to describe yourself. Now, there's thousands of words in the dictionary, but the word that you chose was the word learning. So we took the word learning and we put it on this $2 bill, and I've signed it. And on the back, we've put the word "You matter because you do." And we asked that, hey man, I saw some money over there in the corner of the Readery. Hopefully this will make it into that corner
It will be right there.
Show off, this experience here on the Bro Coach Show. But I'd love for you to share with our listeners why you chose the word learning. Why is it important to you?
I think when I am engaging every single day, whether it's with my family, whether it's with my friends, whether it is with the books that we're reading, with being an educator, all of these different roles, I'm always so hungry to learn more. I want to learn. I want to be in a constant state of learning, because the more I know, the better I can be, the better I can serve, the better I can listen, the better I can connect. And so I always want to be in that space of wanting to learn and know more, because we all have incredible gifts. And how can we co-construct together? And it's through taking that time to learn from one another. And in that same thread, then we also learn more about ourselves. So, constant state of learning.
I love it. So we want to, on the Bro Coach Show, this is your $2 bill.
Thank you.
We're going to smile real quick.
Yes.
Indeed. We certainly appreciate you being on the show. Pranoo, we have talked about a lot, but you have just got off the dopest TV show on the East Coast and have just experienced a Bro Coach Show experience. Let the people know your testimony. How did it feel?
This experience was incredible. I have not had many experiences where I could just sit and feel like I was talking to family. Like, just meeting Troy, not only in person, but also the experience of our first, initial phone call, the email, just that sense of energy, enthusiasm, and connection. Not only can you tell that this is your passion, but also that you have this gift of wanting to connect others to the story and to find ways in which people can also learn more about the things happening in the community. I think one of the other things that I really have valued so much is just this natural experience of learning about each other's stories and seeing how we're all connected in some way in our pursuit of liberation for humans. And sometimes you go into other spaces and it can feel a little transactional, but it never felt that way in this experience. I felt like it was an authentic conversation, and I learned so much as well on how I can do better for my community just through the story of you, Troy. So thank you.